Hello and welcome to Natural Balance. I'm your host, Mia Sines. And in this episode with me, I have Gayle. Now, Bonnie is multifaceted. She will tell you a little bit more about all she does. But what we're going to be talking with Bonnie about today is so fabulous. It's changed my life, but I'm so excited about her body reset program that literally has shifted inflammation out of my body. So we asked her on to share this amazing information. So welcome, Bonnie. It's wonderful to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Would you like to share with us? You are multi-talented. You have many things going on in your life. And I love to share with people as we get older, we get to just add on all these great things. So me too. You and I'm actually 4 months older than you. So I'm saying I'm in the same older path too. So share with us all the great things that you'd like us to know about you.
Well, the first thing is I love to help people, and I help people in a variety of ways. And initially I started helping people with the finances in their business. So I've been a business manager and a bookkeeper for many companies. And now I have a financial coaching practice, business and finance mentoring, which I share with Mia. And I also have gone through some of my own challenges and ended up creating things that I needed for myself that I found out other people wanted, like an organic lube when I went into menopause and my body started changing. And then later on in life, I gained weight because of menopause and I couldn't get rid of it. I was trying everything and it was driving me nuts. So I had to do a lot of research, and I realized that the biggest cause of this is inflammation. And nobody ever talked about inflammation before. So I started doing the research and ended up coming up with a plan of how you could eat anti-inflammatory foods like 90 to 95% of the time and lose weight. And the best part was you'd never have to go on a diet again. And that to me was like the over top amazing part of it, because first of all, diets don't work. And secondly, they just are so frustrating and they throw your body off.
Very true. Very true. I was one of the first people in your program when you created it. And I have to say that inflammation just fell away. I mean, and will continue. And dropping the weight is really brilliant, because when you're not, and I'm just sharing this because we're going to go into having you share more, but I love your work. And so when we do remove that inflammation, people don't understand about what toxins do to our body. So will you share with them about how toxins, as they're in our body, actually make us look heavier than we are because everything's being bound to them?
Right. So here's the important thing to know is that inflammation is your body's own natural protection. So why are we creating inflammation in our body when we're eating food or we're drinking water or we're exercising? Like, why is that creating inflammation? And the reason that it's creating inflammation is because we're eating the wrong foods. We're eating foods that our body, and drinking beverages that our body does not recognize as water, which our body needs, or actual food. And the reason for this is that the foods today are processed. They're adding all kinds of chemicals. Fruits and vegetables are being sprayed with really super harmful, toxic pesticides and chemicals. And so our body doesn't even recognize these things as food. So we're eating things and our body's like, oh my God, there's a foreign object in your body. And the first thing it does is blow up. So how many times have you like eaten a meal and then like within a half an hour, your stomach is extended, you feel like you're blown up and you need to go and take a nap, right? Because these are harmful things. And what happens is they stick to our bodies. And when they stick to our bodies, they create inflammation. And then the inflammation stays there and makes it impossible for you to change things. So you can't lose weight when you're highly inflamed. And even if you do temporarily, it's going to come right back immediately as soon as you are not doing the extreme thing you were doing to get rid of it. The other thing is that we have environmental things, some that we can control and other things we can't control, that cause inflammation in our bodies, like drinking and eating food out of plastic containers and cans that are lined with BPA. So that's something that actually leaches what we call estrogen mimickers, so that our body thinks it's getting more estrogen, so it creates more fat cells and creates inflammation and holds on to everything. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle that you keep going through round and round until you actually start changing what you are consuming, what you are putting on your body, what is in the environment in your home, so that you release the toxic things that are literally affecting your hormones and your endocrine disruptors. So why are so many people having challenges getting pregnant? Why are there so many miscarriages? Why are people eating food and feeling, completely congested? All of these things. Why are we not thinking clearly? So inflammation affects everything. So you can eat food and feel bloated, but guess what? That's not all it affects. If your brain is inflamed, which if you have inflammation it is, then you're not going to be able to think as clearly, and you're going to forget things more often. If you have inflammation in your sinuses, you're going to be prone to sinus infections and allergies all the time. And yes, you will have them. And taking the medication that's required is only a Band-Aid. It's not a fix or a solution. It's just something that you're doing to mask whatever the results are that you're feeling from these side effects. So inflammation everywhere in your body is an unhealthy thing. And in order to reduce it, there are changes that you do need to make to get your body back in balance. When your body's in balance, it releases excess weight that it doesn't need.
Awesome. Let's talk about, and I know you did cover it, but let's talk more in depth about GMOs, organic foods, because these are all interwoven into this topic. And most people don't know until they know what's going on. They think that everything is okay. Why would somebody try to harm us, type of thing?
Of course.
So share with us the different elements of how, and not a history of farming, which you could if
No, I don't even have a history of farming, that's for sure.
But literally our plant sources with the GMO have increased, the modified growing in the seeds and everything, so that it's messed up the quality even of our produce, of our foods.
So first of all, what is GMO? What does that even stand for? That is genetically modified organism. And what that is seeds of plants, before they are put into the ground, are injected with chemicals that are toxic to your body, but they make the plant reproduce quicker. As the plant is reproducing quicker, the nutrients that the plant carries are diminished because it is not able to fully develop in the time allotted for it to grow. So basically, you now have less nutritional produce. You have toxic chemicals that have been used in warfare being injected into the food that you are ingesting, that are sticking to your body, and that could create cancer amongst so many other diseases. GMO foods in many cases are not labeled. So it's very important today to consume organic produce as much as you possibly can, and organic foods, and to stop eating foods that are highly processed, like TV dinners, foods in cans, just anything that you buy that's like prepackaged, where it has all kinds of chemicals in it. And you can look at the ingredients on packaged foods. There is a food that's processed in a minimal form that's actually not bad for you. Like, for instance, pasta made of only lentils. There's nothing wrong with eating that, even though it is a processed food. But it's not processed in a bad way because there aren't any chemicals or toxic ingredients in it. So there are things in packages you can buy, but you have to look at labels. It is so important that you familiarize yourself with labels. And a great rule of thumb for me is, if I don't know what this item is by looking at it, it's probably not good for me. So you don't have to bring like this huge list of like what's toxic and what's not. If it's something that you don't know what it is, and it has like a weird name, or it has letters and numbers, I can guarantee you it's toxic, chemical laden based. So that's a very easy way to tell. So how do you know when you're buying something organic? Organic, if you go to the markets, is labeled with something. They have on the little teeny labels that are on produce, they have little numbers. And if the number starts with a 9 and it's 5 digits of numeric numbers, that's an organic product. If you see products that have labels starting with 4 or 3 and they're 4 digits, those are not organic products. Those are chemically laden products. And GMOs, when they start getting labeled, will start with an 8. And I think they're going to be 5. I think they're 5 digits. So right now, if you buy organic, at least you know it's non-GMO. Or if you look at packages of things, it will say non-GMO if it is. So it's very important that you are aware of this and consuming those kinds of things. If you can just imagine feeding your child, okay? And, you know, look, we have enough diseases and illnesses in the world without having to worry about food and water causing these things, right? We have just started eating these foods basically since the 70s. And the first thing that was genetically modified was wheat. And then later on, it became mostly corn and soy, and they've added more things to the mix. Have you noticed that everybody's getting heavier? Diabetes is way on the rise, even childhood diabetes. People are less active and more stagnant than ever before, which is a recipe for toxic disaster. So you're eating toxic chemicals, you're not exercising, and you want to have a healthy mind and a healthy body. It's kind of impossible. So you do have to be your own body's best advocate. You do have to, if you're a mother, you do need to look at labels for your children. If you don't want to do it for yourself, think of your kids, because a lot of people put themselves last. So that's the reason I say this. Think of it for the people that you love. What can you do to help people that you love live longer, healthier lives? Water. Let's talk about water for a second. Water that comes in plastics are usually going to be leaching estrogen mimickers. Estrogen mimickers cause parabens. Parabens cause female cancers. So there are a lot of things and reasons why you don't want to do this. If you have water and you're drinking from a tap, make sure that you have a great filtration system. It is super uber important. And there are many filtration systems out there that you can use after the water comes out of the tap that have several different filters that will ionize your water, that will get rid of like things like fluoride and chemicals and all kinds of toxic things that are put into water, including bleach. So every time you're drinking water, you're drinking bleach. And if you go to a hotel and you have a glass of water, you will taste the bleach in your water. It is that disgusting. So the question is, do you really want to be drinking these things, or do you want these things removed so that your body knows it's actually drinking water and getting hydrated? So this is super important on every level for both you and your family.
Love it. Love it. There were so many things in there that I should have written down. You know, I was popping off here, my brain. So you were talking about parabens. Let's talk about that they're in everything, not just our food and not just our body can prepare it, but in our hair products, our body products, things that we put on our skin being the largest organ on our beautiful body. So it's absorbing all the garbage.
Exactly. So our skin absorbs everything from our environment and anything that we put topically on or physically into our body. So the reason I say physically into is when you are, even if you're putting something topically on your body, it is absorbing into your skin. You know, if you're using a lubricant, it is absorbing into the skin and tissue of the vaginal lining and the vaginal walls. So, and then it goes into your bloodstream. So looking at ingredients of what is, you know, what are the things that you're using for your hair, for your skin care, for your makeup, your lotions, your toilet paper. Why? Because you're wiping your body with toilet paper, which contains bleach and all kinds of other chemicals that are toxic if you're not using a clean toilet paper. And one of the things that I noticed is that I was extremely dry vaginally. And when I changed the toilet paper that I was using, I became less dry, doing nothing else different. So it really does affect your body in ways that you may or may not understand. So looking at the ingredients in all of the products that you use physically in your home or on your clothes, like, you know, when you're washing your laundry, the laundry detergent, the softener, you know, your dryer sheets, all of those things contain chemicals if you're not using organic things. So there are easy switches and fixes for all of these things, and that's what's so great. And in the gift that I'm giving away some amazing tips to overcome inflammation. So 8 tips to overcome inflammation so that you can start doing these tips immediately and watching your body change, not only physically, but how you feel in it.
Which is fabulous. You know, when you were saying about the laundry detergent, I instantly saw a baby and how we always use special chemical free, or, you know, that's what we encourage moms, you know, moms encourage moms to do for their children. Because when you think about a baby, they're just so beautiful and innocent. They've come into this world without all these toxins in their body. Some of it through the mother, of course, as she's carrying the child. But babies react very quickly to anything that is disruptive to their body, right? So like if they're off of breast milk and they're on formula, if it's not the right type of formula, if it has too much soy in it, if it doesn't have enough of iron or whatever, their bodies will tell us, right? So there are these little barometers or indicators. So why not do it for us as well? When we see that in our child, we are just a larger version of that. We've just become so intoxicated with this garbage in our systems that we don't realize the difference. So it's very cool how you're explaining this stuff, because it really will shift and change. When you were talking about eating and mood swings and things like that, the parabens don't just affect cancer. They bring microvascular disease for the heart. They, you know, starting in women in their 20s now, all sorts of terrible things. And simply just looking at the ingredients, like you said, will be a huge thing. Oftentimes Bonnie and I go shopping together, and so I'm like, here, I give it to her.
Do you wish is this good? No. See that? No.
And then
well,
taught me.
and just like the amount of things that have cane sugar in it. Sugar is completely inflammatory. So if you're eating sugar, you're going to become inflamed. Spices that have no reason, have no business having sugar in there. They sneak these little ingredients in large doses because they think it's going to taste better for you. So you really do need to read everything, even if it's organic. You want to make sure the 3 biggest things that cause inflammation in your body from an eating perspective. If you want to take the raw things, I'm not talking about chemicals right now, but I'm talking about the 3 types of foods that actually create inflammation in your body are sugar, dairy, and starches. Those are the 3 things. So if you're eating a lot of sugary foods, you're eating a lot of dairy, when you're eating a lot of starches, you're creating inflammation in your body every day. Now, there are alternative things that you can eat that can bring you back into balance that literally can replace any of these things. Like, for instance, for sugar, the great replacement is organic stevia. And I recommend the brand Sweet Leaf because I know it doesn't have all the toxic chemicals that some of the other ones do.
And no
Okay.
aftertaste. Right.
Then for, like, let's say dairy, you're thinking about milk, ice cream. You can buy or make, ice cream out of almond milk or coconut milk. You can have milk made out of almond milk or coconut milk, creamers that are made out of that. You can even juice almonds. There's slow juicers that juice almonds so you can make your own almond milk. I mean, there are substitutions for all these things so that you don't have to feel deprived.
Mm-hmm.
Even like if you want to talk about wheat or bread or whatever, there is, let's just say for pasta, there's pasta made of lentils, there's pasta made of quinoa. So there's pasta made of other things that are black beans that are good for you, where you don't have the wheat involved. So it's not going to blow you up and you don't feel bloated when you eat them.
Mm-hmm.
So there are alternatives for everything. That's the good news. You just have to do some research and learn what these things are.
Yeah. Because we can find, everybody wants to eat well and everybody at times wants to have their comfort food. So you can still find your comfort foods, or at a place.
Healthy versions.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Healthy versions of comfort food that will make you still feel as a human part of us, satiated and feeling good. Because
right.
Literally with our emotions, we do as humans like to sometimes say, oh, I really would like a nice bowl of, grandma's noodle soup or something like that. It would be interesting and we have made it where we just throw in the lentil pasta, so it's fabulous. I love that. Okay. So you mentioned briefly about your free gift. Want to talk about it a little bit more in detail?
So my free gift is 8 things that you can start doing immediately, literally to overcome inflammation. And in that gift, I have tips. I have some alternative solutions for each of those things, because sometimes elimination is a part of it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's just changing something that you're doing. Like, I'm going to give you an example. Like, I'm somebody who doesn't believe that you need to be in the gym several hours a day to exercise. I believe that if you exercise for 15 to 20 minutes a day, every day, first thing in the morning, you get your metabolism going, you get things going, and you start your body moving so that it can get rid of inflammation first thing in the morning. So I give you some ideas of exercises that are fun to do. Because everybody's like, oh no, you need to do this, you need to do that. No, do something you love. Like, the most important thing to me is that you love the food that you eat. Why? Because you're not going to eat stuff you don't like. Mm-hmm. Even if you think it's going to do something good for you, it's going to go away after a certain period of time, because you're going to be like, ugh, everybody's eating this and I'm eating this. Ugh. So you have to love what you eat. So it's really super important that you learn to make things that you love and use spices, use good things in there so that you can flavor things the way that you like them. Mm-hmm. So eating healthy doesn't have to be boring. Eliminating chemicals and pesticides and GMOs doesn't have to be a bad thing. Changing from dairy to almond milk or coconut doesn't have to be a hard thing. Getting rid of sugar doesn't have to be hard. Now, the thing about it is, what you do notice when you eliminate these things is you do go through a level of a detox, because your body really needs to get rid of stuff to reset. And when you do this, one of the reasons why I love, our Body Reset 7-Day Challenge is because you're eating specific things, you're eating 3 meals, you're exercising, you're getting the nutrition you need, but you're also eliminating inflammation at the same time. So people have amazing results when they're actually feeding their body, working out, and getting rid of inflammation. And that's the important thing, because they start to feel better. So getting rid of inflammation is also about being able to sleep better. It's also about being able to think more clearly and being your best self on all levels.
And you really do feel a lot better. vibrant, sassy, sexy. It's awesome. Thank you so much for coming today and for sharing this information. It's very, very valuable. I appreciate it. And I know the audience does too. Is there one more thought that you'd like to leave us with?
My biggest message is to be your body's best advocate. And the reason that I believe that is because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else will. And, you know, in today's world, it's becoming more challenging to really be able to be your body's best advocate. So if you can do something every day to be your body's best advocate for yourself, you know, and give yourself a huge hug for the fact that you've done that and thank yourself. I think that it will become a natural part of your life. And as that happens, you start to elevate yourself and you start to feel better and you start to kind of like infuse that into other people as well. Because when they see you being more vibrant, feeling better, looking better, what's going to happen is they're going to ask you what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And
it feels good. I mean, it feels really good for somebody to say, oh my God, what are you doing? Like, you look amazing, or something's different, something's changed, and I don't know what it is, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want that?
And you know, it's not about you and I when we're together and we see, it's not that we're looking, but sometimes we'll see where a person is bloated or they're retaining stuff within them. And you can literally see it's the way they walk, the swelling in their face or their arms or their bodies. So we don't need to have that. And it's just an observation because of this amazing work that's being done. It's not in a judgment fashion, but it's very interesting to see how most of humanity literally does have this bloat and swollenness about them. And what that says to me is someone who is supposed to be taking care of us, the higher ups, is not. And I'm not talking about God, I'm talking about governmental people. And here's another thing, for those who are spiritual or even those who are in a organized religion, GMO is not created by God. Somebody is messing with what the beauty of this beautiful seed that is to nurture and feed our body. We know that as that, like you mentioned, as that little beautiful plant grows within its own system, it produces a lot of nutrition. And so that's why those sprouts that are 3 or 4 days old pack so much of a punch for us. I've learned so much from Bonnie. She's been an amazing, not just friend, but an amazing coach to follow. So thank you so much, Bonnie. It was really a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. And we'll see you in another episode of Natural Balance.